This is the first of the raft of bills that we're seeking to pass today in order to, in fact, register our full compliance with the requirements of the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force and the Financial Action Task Force. This one is fairly straightforward, Mr. Speaker. They are trying to ensure that there is no concealment of beneficial owners of registered companies, since they see concealment or non-disclosure of ownership as a possible device for hanky-panky for HP.
They are a response, as we've acknowledged, a response to international pressure, which is real, cannot be ignored, but which I think we need to be very clear, which will inevitably lead to, in my view, the complete undermining of the offshore sector, the offshore industry in Belize, which is exactly perhaps what is intended. The reality is that the big boys don't want us at the table. And the more, I think we have to acknowledge and accept that the more we comply, the more we complain. The reality is we have to comply. But the more we comply, the more the standards continue to change. And so, in a sense, there is never satisfaction. And inevitably, in my view, it will lead to the complete undermining of the offshore sector. But the reality is that we must comply for the protection and preservation of our banking sector. The only comment I would make is that these bills also provide additional powers to our competent authorities. In many cases, you're talking about the Central Bank of Belize. In other cases, you're talking about the FIU, these competent authorities. And I think it's important, because we're dealing with very complex legislation, that these competent authorities actually understand these laws, understand the laws that are being passed, and understand the duties and obligations that are being placed on them by these laws. And in fact, the reality is we don't have the capacity to enforce and execute these laws. That is the reality. So we have to understand what we're doing. And I certainly hope these competent authorities are being properly advised and properly understand and appreciate the magnitude of these laws and the extent of the authority that is being given to them. And we hope that it will be responsibly exercised. No? That is very important, I think, in closing, that we expect these competent authorities not only to understand these bills, but to responsibly exercise these additional powers, the additional authority that is being vested in them.